Greetings, chosen warrior. With surgical precision, you dismantled their illusion of control. One swift, calculated move, that's all it took. They never saw it coming, these self-proclaimed masters of the game. Now they're reeling, their confidence shattered like glass on concrete, trying desperately to gather the pieces of their broken strategy. The look in their eyes tells the whole story, pure, unfiltered shock as reality crashes through their carefully constructed facade. They're spinning, stumbling, grasping at empty air while you stand unmoved, watching their descent with quiet satisfaction. This isn't just a victory, it's an annihilation, a masterclass in power played out with ice-cold efficiency. Let them scramble, let them spiral, let them taste the bitter reality of their miscalculation. You've already won, and they're just beginning to understand the magnitude of their defeat. This is your moment of triumph, and they're merely spectators to their own undoing. Looking in that rearview mirror now, you can't help but smile at their fatal assumption. They thought they had mastered the art of manipulation, treating your loyalty like a puppet strings they could pull at will. Their game was calculated, a perfectly orchestrated dance of hot and cold, presence and absence, sweet nothings and deafening silences. They fed you just enough hope to keep you tethered, doling out affection like rare coins, believing your hunger for their approval would keep you forever in their orbit. How confidently they played this game, certain of their control, sure that your forgiveness was infinite, your patience endless, your devotion unbreakable. But they made one critical error. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your patience for desperation. They never imagined you could walk away, never thought you'd find the strength to cut their strings. Now, they're the ones left watching your taillights fade into the distance, finally understanding that their greatest power was nothing but an illusion you allowed them to believe. All along, you were the silent strategist, the careful observer of their calculated dance. Every withdrawal, every manipulative gesture, every test of your devotion, you cataloged it all with quiet precision. They never realized that while they were playing their games, you were studying the rules, mapping their patterns, understanding the twisted choreography of their control. And then, when the moment was perfect, you executed the one move they never saw coming: absolute silence. No dramatic confrontation for them to weaponize, no emotional outburst for them to twist, no desperate pleas for them to mock. You simply vanished, like smoke through their fingers, leaving them with nothing to grasp, nothing to manipulate, nothing to use against you. Your absence became your power, your silence, your victory. In the end, you didn't just leave. You evaporated from their reality so completely that even their memories of you began to feel like a dream they couldn't quite recall. You erased them so completely that even the echoes of their presence faded into nothingness. There were no breadcrumbs left behind, no lingering traces for them to follow, and that's what unraveled them. They weren't prepared for the void, for the absence of your reaction, for the emptiness where they once held control. They expected the usual script, the tears, the late-night messages, the desperate attempts to piece together what went wrong. But instead, they were met with the cold, unyielding wall of your indifference. Now, they're trapped in their own mind, haunted by questions they'll never have answered. Every notification that isn't from you feels like a dagger. Every moment of silence stretches into eternity. They're stuck in a loop, dissecting every word, every moment, every memory, trying to find meaning in the nothingness you left behind. And the cruelest part? They're realizing the truth. The power they thought they had was never theirs. It was yours all along. The realization is a storm they can't outrun, crashing over them in relentless waves. They thought they were in control, thought they held the reins, but now the truth is suffocating. They weren't the puppet master, they were the puppet, tethered to your light, your energy, your unwavering presence. Without it, they're unraveling, piece by piece, the emptiness inside them growing louder with every passing moment. The validation they once siphoned from you is gone, leaving a void they can't fill no matter how hard they try. They're clawing at the walls of their own mind, desperate to find a replacement, but nothing compares. The withdrawal is vicious, merciless, and for the first time, they're forced to confront the hollowness they tried so hard to ignore. You were never the one who needed them. They were the one who couldn't survive without you. Now, they're drowning in the silence they once weaponized, realizing too late that their imagined power was nothing more than a fragile illusion. They sit there, replaying every moment, every word, trying to understand how the game slipped from their hands. But the truth is simple: you were never playing. You saw through the facade, the inflated ego, the desperate need to feel superior. And now, as they stare at the emptiness where your attention used to be, they're forced to confront the reality they refused to see. You were the prize all along. You've moved on, untouchable, and they're left behind, trapped in the ruins of their own arrogance, haunted by the one thing they never thought they'd lose: you. They sit in the chaos of their own making, replaying every imagined scenario where you'd come crawling back, but none of it is real. The silence they once wielded as a weapon now feels like a crushing weight on their chest, suffocating and relentless. They scroll through old messages, searching for some sign, some clue that you might still care, but all they find is the emptiness they never expected. Their pride is in shambles, their ego bruised, and for the first time, they're realizing they miscalculated. You didn't fold, didn't break, didn't even hesitate. You walked away with a strength they never thought you had, and now they're left with nothing but the echo of their own failure. The power they thought they held is gone, and all that's left is the sting of your absence, a silence louder than any words you could have said. They pace the room, restless, their thoughts a tangled web of desperation and denial. The silence is unbearable, louder than any argument, heavier than any goodbye. They tell themselves it's a test, that you're playing hard to get, that you'll crack eventually. But deep down, the doubt festers. What if this isn't a game? What if you've truly moved on? The thought claws at them, relentless and unyielding. They reach for their phone again, scrolling mindlessly, hoping for a sign, anything to confirm that they still matter. But there's nothing, no posts, no messages, no trace of the person they thought they knew. It's as if you've erased them completely, and the emptiness left behind is eating them alive. They tell themselves they don't care, that they'll move on too, but the truth is inescapable. They weren't ready for this. They weren't ready for you to leave, to let go, to win. Each passing day feels heavier than the last, the weight of your absence pressing down on them like a storm they can't escape. They replay their assumptions over and over, how they thought you'd crumble, thought you'd beg, thought you'd prove their importance by falling apart. But instead you're glowing in the distance, untouchable, unbothered, and undeniably thriving. It's the thriving that stings the most, the way you've rebuilt yourself without a trace of them in your foundation. They scroll through your photos, your updates, searching for cracks, for signs of the heartbreak they were so certain you'd feel. But all they see is strength, a strength they never expected, and it's unraveling them. The silence they thought would destroy you has become their prison, and the more they wait for you to break, the more they realize they're the ones who've already shattered. They try to convince themselves it doesn't matter, that your glow is just a facade, that you'll stumble eventually. But deep down, they know the truth. They were never the foundation of your happiness, just a fleeting shadow in your light. Every laugh you share, every step forward you take, feels like a dagger to the illusion they built around themselves. They scroll through their nights of empty conversations and shallow connections, hoping for a spark that could rival what they lost. But nothing compares. The harder they try to forget you, the more vivid you become, etched into their thoughts like a bittersweet melody they can't escape. They thought they could move on without looking back, but now they're the ones stuck, haunted by the very person they thought they'd broken. They sit in the wreckage of their own arrogance, replaying every moment they took for granted, every chance they wasted. They thought they had all the time in the world, that you'd always be there, waiting in the wings. But now they're realizing they were just a fleeting moment in your story, a footnote in a narrative they assumed revolved around them. The silence you left behind is deafening, drowning out every excuse they tell themselves, every attempt to justify their actions. They thought they were untouchable, the one in control, but now they're unraveling, caught in a spiral of regret and disbelief. You didn't just leave, you rewrote the ending, and in doing so, you became the part of their story they'll never be able to forget. The mornings blur together now, each one heavier than the last. The air feels thicker, harder to breathe, as if the world itself is conspiring against them. They reach for their phone again, knowing full well there's nothing waiting for them. But the hope is automatic, a reflex they can't control. The emptiness in their inbox mirrors the emptiness they feel inside, and no amount of self-reassurance can drown out the ache. They try to shake it off, tell themselves it's just a phase, just a bad day, but the truth seeps through the cracks. They're not fine. The silence isn't just around them, it's within them, a constant hum of regret and longing they can't escape. They keep telling themselves it's just a phase, that time will fix the hollow ache inside them. But the truth is unavoidable. Everything feels muted, dulled, like the color has drained from the world. They go through the motions, forcing laughter, nodding along to conversations they don't even hear. The nights are the worst, when the distractions fade and they're left alone with the weight of it all. They try to fill the void with noise, with people, with anything that might make them forget, but nothing sticks. The emptiness lingers, clinging to them like a second skin, a constant reminder of what they've lost. And deep down, they know the only thing that could make them feel whole again is the one thing they can't have: you. They catch themselves staring into nothing, lost in a loop of memories they can't escape. Every thought circles back to you, your smile, your voice, the way you made everything feel lighter, easier. They try to shake it off, to focus on the present, but the present feels hollow without you. The person staring back at them in the mirror is a stranger, eyes tired, shoulders slumped, confidence shattered. They thought they were unshakable, untouchable, but you were the anchor they didn't realize they needed until it was gone. Now, everything feels unsteady, like they're drifting in a storm with no direction, no safe harbor. They didn't just lose you, they lost the version of themselves that only existed when you were around. They thought they could rewrite the rules, bend the story to fit their narrative, but they didn't anticipate the cost. Now, they're left with the echoes of what could have been, chasing fleeting moments that never measure up. They reach for anyone, anything, to fill the emptiness, but nothing sticks. Every smile feels hollow, every connection shallow. They can't escape the truth. You weren't just another chapter, you were the whole story, the one who saw them in their entirety, flaws and all, and still chose to stay. They thought they were invincible, untouchable, but losing you has exposed the cracks in their armor. The game they played was their downfall, and now they're left with nothing but regret, realizing too late that the only person they were trying to control was themselves. They watch from the sidelines now, scrolling through glimpses of your life that radiate a light they no longer have access to. Every photo, every laugh, every sign of your happiness feels like a dagger twisting deeper, a reminder of what they lost. They thought you'd falter, thought you'd come crawling back, but instead you rose higher, stronger, untouchable. The weight of their pride feels unbearable now, pressing down on their chest as they hover over the send button, fingers trembling. They want to say they're sorry, want to undo the damage, but the words feel too small for the storm they created. So they sit there, drowning in their own silence, as the realization hits harder than ever. You're not the one who needs them. They're the one who can't live without you. Chosen ones. Pause for a moment and take action. Subscribe to the channel and share this message with those who need it, because you are standing on the threshold of greatness, not by accident, but by divine design. Every challenge, every triumph, every step has led you to this precise moment, a moment where transformation is not just possible, but inevitable. This path was never meant to be easy. It was meant to awaken the fire within you, to call forth your courage, your resilience, and your boundless potential. The Lumination Inner Order is not merely an invitation, it is a declaration of who you are and what you are destined to become. Your choices, your actions, Your unwavering belief in your purpose create waves of change that extend far beyond your own life. You are not just a light in the darkness. You are a force of nature, illuminating the way for others to find their strength. This is your time to rise, to claim your power, and to step fully into the role you were born to play. Together, we are weaving a future filled with hope, courage, and transformation. The world is ready for your light. The question is, are you ready to shine? They built their identity on the illusion of control, convincing themselves they were the center of your universe. It was easier that way, easier to believe you needed them, easier to ignore the quiet truth that it was the other way around. Now, the cracks in their delusion are impossible to ignore. They see it clearly. You were never dependent on them, never tethered to their whims. You stood on your own, strong and unshakable, while they clung to you like a lifeline they didn't even know they needed. The realization is bitter, cutting deeper than they thought possible. They weren't your anchor, you were theirs. And now, without you, they're adrift, lost in a sea of their own making. They told themselves they were untouchable, that losing you wouldn't matter, that their life would go on just as it always had. But now, in the quiet moments when no one else is watching, the truth seeps in. The cracks in their confidence grow wider, the weight of their choices heavier. They replay every moment, every word, every chance they had to hold on to you, and it burns. You weren't just someone who passed through their life. You were the steady force that kept their chaos at bay, the quiet strength they leaned on without even realizing it. Now, the emptiness is deafening, and they're left to face the harsh reality that the light they once took for granted is gone, and they have no one to blame but themselves. They sit in the stillness, staring at the emptiness that used to be filled with your warmth. Every vibration of their phone sends a jolt through their chest, a fleeting hope that maybe, just maybe, it's you, that you'll reach out, that you'll save them from the silence swallowing them whole. But it never is. The realization cuts deeper with every passing second. You're not coming back. They thought they were the anchor, the steady hand, the one in control. But now they see it was you all along. You were the light in the dark, the calm in the storm, the steady rhythm that kept their world from falling apart. And now, without you, they're left to face the chaos they thought they could control, only to find they're powerless against it. They try to convince themselves it's just a phase, that the ache in their chest will fade with time. But it doesn't. It lingers, growing heavier with every failed attempt to fill the void. They swipe through faces, share empty laughs, chase fleeting moments of connection, but nothing feels real. Nothing feels like you. Every new encounter only reminds them of what they lost, your spark, your depth, the way you made the world feel alive. Now, everything feels muted, like the color has drained from their life. They thought they could move on, but the truth is undeniable. You weren't just a chapter in their story, you were the whole book. And now, without you, they're left staring at blank pages, wondering if they'll ever feel whole again. They sit with the weight of regret pressing down on them, heavier with each passing day. Every memory plays like a loop in their mind. Your laugh, your touch, the way you always seemed to know exactly what they needed, even when they didn't. They see it clearly now, the way they took it all for granted, mistaking your strength for dependency, your love for obligation. They thought they were the ones in control, but now they see they were the ones being held together by you. And now that you're gone, everything feels fragile, unstable, like a house built on sand. They wish they could go back, rewrite every careless word, undo every selfish act, but they can't. All they can do is sit with the emptiness and the knowledge that they didn't lose you. You set yourself free. They told themselves they were above it, that they could let you go without a second thought. But now, the facade is crumbling, and the truth is impossible to ignore. They weren't the one in control, they never were. Every moment without you feels like a piece of them is missing, a hollow ache they can't escape. They've tried to mask it, to pretend they're fine, but the desperation grows louder, clawing at their insides, demanding to be heard. They thought pride would save them, thought they could outlast the silence, but it's breaking them. They need you, not as a game, not as a prize, but as the only thing that ever made them feel alive. And the worst part? They know they don't deserve you, but that doesn't stop them from wanting you back more than anything. They linger in the shadows of your mind, weaving themselves into the quiet moments when you least expect it. A fleeting thought, a familiar scent, a song that suddenly feels too personal. It's all them, reaching out without ever saying a word. They're desperate for a reaction, for proof that they still hold space in your heart. They push harder, their presence slipping into dreams, resurfacing in memories you thought you'd buried. It's calculated, deliberate, but cloaked in the guise of coincidence. They want you to feel the weight of their longing, to carry it with you like an invisible tether pulling you back to them. It's not just nostalgia, it's their energy, relentless and unyielding, searching for cracks in your resolve, hoping you'll be the one to break first. Throughout your day, they become a ghost in the corners of your mind, slipping into the cracks of your routine. A sudden breeze carries their scent, a random lyric feels like it was written just for you, a memory surfaces without warning. It's not chance, it's them. They're pouring every ounce of their will into the universe, silently begging for a sign, for a shift, for you. They sit in the quiet of their room, eyes closed, heart open, hoping their thoughts can reach you across the distance. Let them think of me, they whisper. Let them feel what I feel. But they won't move first, bound by their pride, too afraid to risk rejection. So instead, they send out their energy, their longing, their ache, hoping it's enough to draw you back, to make you take the step they're too scared to take themselves. You see it for what it is now, a game, a performance carefully designed to draw you back in. The message arrives, dripping with just enough sincerity to make you pause, but not enough to fool the version of you that has grown, that has learned. You read the words, but you don't feel them. You know the difference between love and need, between regret and manipulation. They're not reaching out because they've changed. They're reaching out because they've lost control. And that's the part they can't stand, the realization that their grip on you is gone, that you've reclaimed your energy, your power, your peace. They don't want to fix what was broken, they want to fix the emptiness they feel without you. But you've moved forward, and no amount of carefully crafted words can pull you back into the version of yourself that once stayed. The cracks they ignored for so long have become chasms, impossible to patch or hide. The life they once paraded as perfect is unraveling thread by thread, and they're powerless to stop it. They're drowning in the weight of their own actions, the consequences they thought would never come finally catching up to them. The universe is relentless, mirroring back everything they've put out, and they're left standing in the ruins of their own making. They thought they could outrun accountability, charm their way past karma, but now they're realizing the truth. Every choice has a cost, and theirs are coming due. And as they watch everything crumble, they can't help but look toward you, the one who broke free, the one who refused to stay in their web. You're the proof they can't escape, the proof that their control was never as strong as they believed. Behind the facade, the cracks have grown too wide to hide. They try to mask it with forced smiles and hollow laughter, but the emptiness is consuming them. The life they once built on control and illusion feels foreign now, slipping further out of reach with every passing day. They replay the moments in their mind, searching for the point where it all went wrong, but deep down they know it wasn't one moment, it was all of them. The lies, the manipulation, the pride, it all led them here. And now they're haunted by the absence of what they lost, the warmth they took for granted, the light they dimmed with their selfishness. It's a void they can't fill, no matter how hard they try, because they finally understand that some things, once lost, can never be replaced. They sit in the quiet now, surrounded by the echoes of what used to be, grappling with a truth they can no longer deny. The distractions they once relied on, parties, fleeting connections, shallow victories, feel hollow, unable to mask the emptiness that has settled in their chest. They scroll through memories, through fragments of you, hoping for a glimpse of the life they let slip away. But instead, they see you, stronger, freer, untouchable. Every step you take forward feels like a reminder of their stagnation, every smile you wear like a mirror reflecting their loss. They thought time was on their side, that they could return whenever they pleased, but now they see that time has only widened the gap between who they are and who you've become. And the realization cuts deeper than they ever thought possible. They weren't just losing you, they were losing themselves. They replay the silence over and over, searching for meaning, for cracks, for anything that could give them a foothold. But there's nothing, just the emptiness where your energy used to be. It's a void they can't fill, no matter how loud they scream inside their own mind. They crave the chaos, the back and forth, the fire of your emotions, because it made them feel alive, made them feel in control. But now, the quiet is deafening, stripping them of the power they once thought was theirs. Your silence isn't just a lack of words, it's a declaration, a boundary, a fortress they can't penetrate. And the more they try to escape it, the more it consumes them, forcing them to sit with the truth they've been running from. They no longer hold any part of you.